Fellas, what is goody? My name is Woody, and this is the youngest Jim bringing you another little Madden video, fellas. And in this video, I'm pretty excited. I've been meaning to do this for a little while now. I am going to go over the youngest Jim's empty scheme that I have been running now for the better part of a year and a half. Going to be running on almost 2 years after the next game comes out. For the MFL Super Competitive League, most of the guys have figured out how to be able to stop me. For those of you that are excited about College Football 27 and Madden 27 coming out, also some of you in League 2 and League 3, I think there will be some things in here that you'll be able to take away from this. Just some basic passing concepts. I'm going to continue to play these games, even though I'm not going to continue my stint in the MFL probably after the winter time. But I think there will be some concepts and some things in here that you'll be able to take away and effectively apply it to your passing game, and to help improve your game. A lot of people have played against me, so a lot of people, like I said, it's not as effective in the Super Competitive League as it once was, but I think that a lot of the guys who have played against me will agree. This offense is hard to stop when I'm making my reads and everything's clicking on all cylinders. I run the Minnesota Vikings playbook, but this empty formation that I run, you can find in some other playbooks. That's what I started with at the beginning of the game, and so that's what I've been running. Empty base trio out of the Minnesota Vikings playbook. I just really like a lot of the preset plays, and then I have hot routes that I do the majority of the time out of a lot of these. So for the purposes of the video, I'm just going to do random empty base trio play, and I'm just going to go over my thoughts, how my brain works, and the adjustments that I make, and then also what you're looking for on these plays versus whatever coverage they're showing. So I'm just going to run a random empty base trio. A lot of guys in a lot of these football games run nickel, so I'm just going to do a random nickel play, random 2-4 nickel play, and then later in the video I'll make some comments about when you see double mug or a couple different defenses, about what you need to do to adjust if you do want to run a little empty. This is a go-to play for me. The tight end return route that you can see is open versus a lot of different coverages. This is a really clutch short yardage situation play. I love running this in short yardage. If the ball is on the right hash, this play is not nearly as good because another thing, and some people have seen this on my empty scheme, I run my 3 receiver set to the right side every single time. I'm not saying that's right. It's probably not for the best. So some of the plays that I run, like this, when you got the 2 verts on the right side, they get a little bit jumbled when the ball's on the right hash. So just something to be aware of. I do this because I was trying to, just said this might not be right, but I was trying to maximize my focus on the defense and making my reads quickly. I've dealt with a couple different teams in the life cycle of this Madden, and this team specifically, when I took it over, was not great, and the O-line was very bad, but that's regardless of the point. I wanted to maximize me just reading the defense. I wanted to have all my wide receivers memorized, so if I had to make a decision in a tenth of a second when I'm under pressure, I know what button I'm going to, and that's why I tried to limit the amount of plays I was running and the positions of where the players were. So for me, I always ran my 3 receiver set to the right side. All my buttons on my receivers are always the same on every play, and it's not perfect, and a lot of times I beat myself by making a silly read or a silly decision. Sometimes when I see pre-snap, I rely on that too much and don't check it post-snap. Regardless, like I said, I think a lot of people have played against me and have seen this offense is pretty nasty, so I'll just go over some of the different concepts here. So I don't like, you can see I changed X to a vert. I do not really like the corner post route. I think it takes too long to develop, especially if you get a lot of pressure. In the league that we play in, guys know how to get pressure basically instantly off the snap. The vert out of the number 3 is my favorite route to throw in every single play. It's unbelievable in Madden. You can just see, like, he gets, you can tell when he's open, like, if guys that they're running, looks like man coverage that time, but it looked like some sort of man coverage last time, but if they're running zone, I always peek the X receiver right off the snap. There have been 100 times that I've thrown this vert ball up the seam and he's just going to the crib if I have a receiver that's fast enough. It's a great blitz beater. A lot of times this first 8 to 15 yards of the field is just wide open. So I always check that first. The return route out of the tight end is always a go-to, especially in short yardage situations. A lot of deep zones, like hook zones, just won't cover it. My triangle receiver, if I know I'm getting cover 3, this is one of my favorite concepts to change to. Rashee Rice will be wide open in between the corner and the safety. Really like running that. I kind of flip just depending on what my opponent's running for triangle. Sometimes I'll go with the whip, and then most of the time I will go with a slant. And then if there's some sort of defender playing in the middle of the field, I'll try to high-low him with my tight end return and the slant coming out of triangle. And then another thing to note, Tampa 2's really good on this game, but with a lot of these empty concepts, the field is so spread out. If somebody runs some sort of cover 2 on you, a lot of different places, especially if the tight ends or the corners are pressed on the outside, I almost always, the defensive look doesn't show it on this play, but I almost always, for the first, quarter second, check my outside receivers and see if I get a cover 2 hole shot. So I'll just say that as a general note for almost everything that I run. Because if people are spamming some sort of cover 2 on you and you're not checking your whole shot off rip, it's just such a chunk gain, and then gets people out of running cover 2, because cover 2 can be really, really hard to beat and nasty on this game. So in general, a lot of these plays, I have a vert coming out of my number 3 on the right side, and that's my first read almost all the time. It's really hard to stop. I think we might get some sort of cover 3 based on the defense here. Let's see what it looks like, and he's going to be just open for a touchdown, except for I just pumped the ball on accident. But it's super disgusting shit. We'll run it one more time, see if the tight end return route come open. That happens a lot if they are running a soft zone coverage. I really, really like that return route for a lot of short yardage situations. It's just Trey McBride, we're in like season 6 or 7 or whatever we're on, so he's kind of old on this, but you get a good receiving tight end, they can break people off. It's really nasty. Okay, the age-old curl flat on this game. I've run a shit ton of this. It's a relatively simple read. In this Madden, I feel like there are some times where the flat defender sometimes does a really good job of playing slow playing the curl and then breaking on the flat. And also some guys just have a good switch stick and good user to play it. In general, this is really hard to defend. It can beat man. Where you can get into trouble is if somebody's running press man and their corner is better than your outside receiver. This is not a good play, because if the corner is good enough, they can press your receiver off rip, and then they can also recover and get back to play the curl. Sometimes if I'm getting press and I'm running this, I will switch it to a vert. When they're playing off like this, it's pretty much free. Because I'm running empty base trio, your running back is your outside receiver on the right side, and so I primarily run this curl flat, and I always focus on the left side, typically, almost always. I had Devon Achane, like when I went to League 2, the team was unbelievable, so godlike. I had Devon Achane, and I could literally do whatever I wanted, because he can just win on the outside as well. But I have Casey Lawrence on this team, so when you have a receiving back that's not, like, and Casey Lawrence is a big running back, he's not a good receiver in general. So I'm not going to focus on that right side. Here's another point for guys to notice. My quarterback on this current, so this Artie Cooper, the kids are calling him Darty Cooper these days because he's him, but he started at 62 overall. He's a really low throw power. He's got like 82 throw power, which is not that great for Madden. I am not going to run this concept. Like, ball being center of the field, throwing a curl to the left side is about as far as that I'm going to run this. I typically only run this curl flat when the ball is on the left hash or close to the left hash. That way my curl throw doesn't take as long to get there, because, like I said, the throw power is just not that good. So I will run the base curl flat sometimes, and we'll just read this out. And actually, it is some sort of soft cover too. If the if the flat's open, I'm just going to take that immediately. So they're going to run some sort of man here. They're going to run man blitz, which is fine. If they're not running a broken mid blitz, you can get this ball off in time. And most of the time, if your receiver's decent, it looks like he dropped that one, but if they're playing off man, they're going to win. Looks like this is some sort of, it's just a blitz. I thought it was going to be press man, but it's just a blitz. On most non-super glitchy blitzes, you can throw this if you throw it on time when the receiver's at the top of his break, you can get this ball out before the blitz gets to you. Another thing that I'll note is, like, most of the guys that know me know I don't run any glitchy or broken shit. I don't go to fucking online or YouTube and look up bullshit. I'm running just shit based off of the way that I know how to play the game. And so a lot of my quick game, a lot of my passing game, I'm making reads in about half a second to a second. When I see the defense, I kind of know what I'm looking for. And I mean, most of you guys in Madden do this anyway because you can see the whole field, which is why I've gotten in trouble with throwing some picks, because sometimes I'm I get too set of my decision that I think that I saw. So something to work on for next game. But I'm making these decisions quickly, and I'm getting the ball out quickly. And so based on the pre-snap, I kind of have, a really good idea of who I'm going to. And if they do send blitz, you got to know where you want to go with the ball before the snap if somebody sends blitz. Otherwise, you're just going to be sacked over and over again, or it'll increase your pick rate. So back to the curl flat. For anybody who doesn't know, and they're running a lot of man, so it's hard to kind of showcase this, but my primary reads this left side, this curl flat. I think we're going to get man coverage again. I kind of want to get a zone to kind of show you guys just the look versus zone. I think we're going to get cover 2. So sometimes I leave this play as it is stock, and I don't do any hot routes. Like when you get this cover 2 shell like this, Vallejo, my X receiver over the middle field, he should be open. Oh, it's another man. Or actually, I think it was like some sort of roll of cover 3. But if they do give you cover 2 is actually really good against curl flat. They can take away both the flat and the curl, but your X receiver will be open in that case. Some sort of cover 3. This is a disgusting cover 3 beater if somebody's playing cover 3 versus you, because the flat defender can't get out into the flat in time. So you're just reading that flat defender, and if he, runs with the flat route, just take your easy curl throw. And if they're playing like cover 4 or something, and the flat defender backs up, or if they're playing man, you can take this curl route. A lot of people have a hard time defending this. Like I said, as long as your receiver is okay, at least not way worse in the corner, it's pretty good shit. Variations I'll do off of this. Pretty much most of the variations I do off of this is just the vert out of number 3. And like I said, if I'm running this play, I'm running it probably on the left hash. I don't want to throw the curl route to my running back across the field on the right side. So I'll put him on a slant, so I'll have something to throw back to him, instead of trying to with my low throw power quarterback trying to throw across the field and throw that curl. Similar to trying to throw a deep out across the field. It's just probably going to take forever to get there, and people that are good are going to pick that shit off, or if their AI defender is really good, they're going to pick it off. Okay, this play is absolutely fucking godlike. In Madden 26, this slot fade out of the tight end was a 1-play touchdown versus a lot of coverages. Guys were like running a lot of cover 6, and this shit was so fucking godlike. In this game, especially with a quarterback, if you're going to throw that slot fade, especially if the ball's on the left hash, your quarterback has to have a lot of throw power, otherwise it's not that great. This is a go-to play for me when people are running man coverage. The number 3 receiver, Vallejo, has this option between like a hitch and an out route, and it is so godlike. The only thing I wish that they would do, so the game is coded where he's only pretty much going to break on an out route when he sees man coverage. There are a lot of zone coverages where like the flat, like not over on the outside to like Lawrence, but the flat area between like him and McBride is wide open, and there will be some zone coverages where the linebacker over Vallejo will just sit there in zone. I wish that they would code him to kind of go to the open space and float to the outside, because it would make getting completions with this a little easier than like sometimes there's knockouts when I throw it to him in zone coverage because he sits right next to the fucking defender, when all he, if he would just float outside, it would be an easy fucking completion. It's probably hard for them to code that, just a note. But if guys are running man coverage, especially if guys are running mid blitz on you, this plays fucking godlike. If they, because right now you can kind of see the linebackers inside leverage. If they run, I'll show it to you, but if they run mid blitz on you and they find out later in the game, like normally at the beginning of the game, nobody knows I'm doing this shit, and he's just fucking wide open. This time he's just going to sit. This is kind of what I'm talking about. If he would just float outside, that'd be an easy completion. My primary read on versus coverage is always Vallejo. And I normally, like I said, go to this. This is a very good short yardage situation. play, and also if they're running mid blitz or running man coverage like this, he's just fucking. You can't defend that shit. It's just absolutely godlike. And another big picture item that I didn't talk about from the beginning. When I run my concept, I always put my best receiver on where Vallejo is, the number 3 receiver on the right side. It's just, I mean, I did it with Travis Hunter last Madden. You guys saw me do it with when I went to League 2 at BTJ. It's just absolutely godlike. Like the spot, there's just so much you can do with the receiver in the spot, and the primary thing being the vert out of number 3. It's really hard to defend unless people use it, and if they do use it, then they're opening up that part of the field for something to replace it. Back to this play, this out route is godlike. I will just, if people are gonna, kid's disgusting. If people are gonna spam man coverage against me, I'm gonna do that, and then whenever they start doing, when they figure out that I'm breaking on that out route, then I'll just run this slant by Saunders here. Because they're, if they start adjusting to outside leverage, then I'll just run this slant. And typically, if they are running outside leverage, something like that will be open. Another thing, if I get, this is some sort of blitz look, but you can see on the left side, this is another good situation if I'm getting some sort of soft cover 3, where I can go to my cover 3 beater here with the whip in the post. I normally only bring that out once or twice a game, but it's a really good 15-yard chunk gain, and people will get out of that. The slot fade, if I get a look that I like, when I think that the slot fade on the right side with McBride's going to be open, I will peep it. You normally know in the first half second of the play if it's going to be open or not. Because if the outside corner sits on your little stop route, the slot fade is just going to be open, but you got to bang that in there quick. Not versus, I mean, this looks kind of a disgusting defensive look, but on a normal stock defense, there is a whole shot for the slot fade where you got to throw that in there between like 8 to 12 yards, somewhere in there. Otherwise, if you get a rolling safety over the top, they're going to pick that shit. Especially, like, I can't throw it on the left hash. I got to be like a center or on the right hash to be able to throw that with the throw power that I got. And then off the rip, you're not going to see it versus defense because they're running fucking a blitz, but a lot of times off the rip, if I do get zone, I'll just peep McBride really quick, and then I'll know, like, if the cornerback's up or if they all back up, I'll know that play's dead, and I'll just throw it to Casey Lawrence, because if they all back up to chase the slot fade, Casey Lawrence has like a free 5 yards. And that's another thing that I'll say with my offense is, like, a lot of the guys have figured out how to not give up a bunch of one-play touchdowns, and they'll play safe and all that shit. Most of us in general that play this game, like I said, I mean, there's your elites who are winning all the time. Most of the rest of us do not do a good enough job of taking what the defense will give you, and that's something that I've preached for the entire time that I've been in this league and played this game. You got to take what the defense is giving you, otherwise you're going to be scratching your head and losing games like I've been doing. See, they all back up. He's just wide open for a couple yards. I mean, that's all you need. If you do that every play, you're unstoppable, and that's something that I need to get back to because I haven't been doing it. But if people are going to spam, the cover 4 spam used to be really bad. If people are going to do that shit versus you. If people are going to spam cover 4 against you, you got to just take the short stuff. If people are going to spam cover 3 against you, like I said, just take the short stuff. And just work your way down the field, and you'll literally be unstoppable. Okay, I've been hitting some of the big picture shit about my offense, so I'll try to go through some of these plays a little bit faster. This is my absolute favorite play in the game. This play is so fucking godlike. It hasn't been as godlike late this year because all the guys that I fucking play know how to take this shit away after I've been running it. But whenever I run this shit against somebody new, it's just absolutely fucking godlike. This play's so good. Primary receiver is always going to be Vallejo. If I have time, if they're running on heavy zone coverage, McBride will be open later in the play and for a massive chunk game most of the time. I always check Saunders in case I'm getting a slot blitz. And then if they are running a cover 6, cover 9, or cover 2, Rice is normally open for a whole shot. And if you have a really good outside receiver like where Rashee Rice is, and they press or run man, he normally just burns them over the top. When I had Devon Achane, Casey Lawrence over there on the right side, my running back, when I had Devon Achane, if they run any sort of man, a cover 2, like cover 2 man is super, super good in this game. Whenever people run man against me and I have a really fast running back, if I can put him on a vert, this play's fucking like literally unstoppable. It's the post and the deep dig. normally can hold those safeties enough to get somebody on the outside. And so, like, one way that people take away this play is by running cover 2 in. And when I have a running back, like a speed running back that people can't run man press on, it's just absolutely fucking godlike and just bomb them. But for the purposes of trying to cover all my bases, Casey Lawrence is not that. So normally Vallejo gets off the ball really well. A lot of times people will take away the drag with their user, and then they'll bump off to other stuff. So worst case scenario, I normally take him for a couple yards. You can see the outside press. They are running man coverage, and that's what I'm talking about. If they run like a cover 2 man, it's really good against this play. And if I don't have a speedster on the outside, there's not a lot that I can do about it. They run blitz. He's going to be open. Trey McBride was wide open too. We run cover 3. This is just, that drag route's hard to cover. And if they're going to back up and play coverage, I'm going to take that every time. Every now and then, I'll put him back on a whip if they start taking it away with their user. And just kind of take advantage of me running the same thing every time. Like I said, so the main variation that I'm running off of it is if I have a fast running back, I'll put him on a vert, and then sometimes I'll change the way that Vallejo's running. But you always got to peep, and he's not going to win. And also, most of the time, I've had really good tight ends. Trey McBride in year 100 isn't as good as he used to be, but when you have a really good tight end, they can normally break off that deep dig like that, and he's just fucking, I mean, you're just 20 yards for free. Like I said, with all these plays, when you get a press corner like that, always got to check for the hole shot. The safety's pretty wide, and they are running press man, so I'm just gonna take my couple yards and move on. But absolutely love this play. Slant flat, a lot of similar shit to the curl flat play. You can see Vallejo's on this little stop route over the ball. If they are spamming cover 2, that stop route over the ball is normally wide open, and it's good to beat that. Absolutely love slant flat. A lot of people have a hard time defending this. Also, I'm running my 3 receiver set to the right side. The left side of the field has so much more space and my better outside receivers over there. So normally my primary read, I almost always put Vallejo on a vert in the slant concept. I will peep the vert, and then I go make my my flat read over on the left side. If this slot defender on the left side, if he is going to play if he widens and plays a flat, I'll bang this slant in. If he stays kind of in the interior side of the defense, I will throw the flat route. The only thing you got to be worried about is if they are running a cover 2, the corner on the left side will drop and play that flat. So that's why sometimes it's good to leave. If I think I'm getting a cover 2 shell, I'll leave Vallejo in this little stop route, because he can, over the ball is open if they are going to run some sort of cover 2. So I normally always check, and about to say, I mean, a lot of you guys make reads quickly, but I always check my little, they're going to run blitz right here, but I always check my little vert, and then I go make my quick slant flat read on the other side. If they're going to run man coverage, typically this is open if the game's not going to be silly. I think he got bumped right there. This slant route's just so disgusting. And then a lot of times guys will take their user and go defend that. And if they go take their user and go defend the slant on the left side, then normally the right side of the field's open. And right now the CPU's taking away the flat part of the field, but eventually the guys will run, especially if they're running cover 3 on you, the flats is what's going to be open. Love you, man. And you can, and if guys are giving you the flats 2 or 3 yards, 4 yards at a time, over time, they'll either adjust and go to take that away, or you're just going to work your way down the field a couple plays at a time. Like if they're giving you the flats and the flats are open like this, you just take that shit. That was pretty good defense right there. Normally I'm getting 5 or 6 yards against that coverage. Another thing I'll note, why I put my fastest and my best receiver on number 3 on the right side is because a lot of the plays I'm throwing him on this vert, it's not open right now, but I was going to throw it anyway. If guys are running double mug, man coverage, or press man or something, most of the time this guy will win for a 1-play touchdown. So I like having that threat, and also, like, if they're running a lot of basic zones and he needs to climb and get up the field quickly, it's just good to have that threat on your inside number 3 to be able to run this vert. CPU is actually doing a pretty good job defending it. Like versus this look, I normally don't do this anymore, but versus this look, based on where the safety is, I actually would. I have a feeling that Vallejo's going to be open right here with this with this vert. Talk through the play real quick. This is a pretty good play. If I wouldn't have audibled him, he has an option route, another where he bends out and he does sit. Like he goes out 3 or 4 yards and sits, or he goes all the way out depending on the coverage. You got your double slants coming from the left side. You got your RB on a vert, and then McBride on his double out is a really, really hard throw to make because you have to throw that shit on time. Most of the time, I just let him just hold the outside defender so I can throw it to Vallejo. For the purposes of what I think that I'm seeing, I am, but no, he's not open. I think it ended up being some sort of man coverage. But this route that he has is really good, especially in short yardage and in the red zone. It's similar to the out route that I had earlier. I don't run this play as much. It's pretty good man coverage by the AI right there. But this is another fun one because, you know, if they're going to run outside leverage, he should have kept going. If they're going to run outside leverage, then I'm going to work the left side of the field and go check. And I got a blitzer, so we'll just replace him. And if they're going to run inside leverage, take away those slants, then normally Vallejo's going to be open. Pretty good little short yardage play right here. I normally mix this in. This is not a primary play for me, but I normally mix this in a couple times a game. Another thing I'll note, I'm running the empty base trio, empty set out of the Vikings playbook that I mentioned. I run every single play out of that formation, and that's pretty much most of the time. You know, I've been mixing it up lately just because the league's gotten so tough, but most of the time that's all I run the entire game. The only thing I don't really run is QB draw out of that because I primarily use quarterbacks that are pocket passers that are really slow because that's what I was. It's not really that great for Madden, but the quarterback types that I use are great for QB draw. Sometimes I mix it in nowadays because nobody's expecting me to do it, but just a note that I do run all those plays in that set. This slot fade play is fucking godlike. Love this play. One thing I don't like about it, sometimes, so your number 2 receiver on the left side has this read where he's supposed to bend inside, and if he gets a cover 2, he's supposed to bend in when he gets some sort of cover 2 shell. That's all well and good. Sometimes he bends in when there is just green grass in front of him. Either when, I think it's when we get some sort of a roll coverage where, like if the safeties are rolling to like a cover 6 or something like that, and like in theory, the way that he's coded, he's going to bend when he gets, you know, like a cover 2 or a cover 4 shell. That's all well and good, but there's a ton of times where if all he does is just fucking run straight, he's wide open for 6. So the primary adjustment that I make on this play is I normally just put him in a normal vert because over time I've gotten too frustrated with the way that he's coded for his post route. This is one of the best cover 3 beaters in the game. Both of these, the outside receivers normally hold the corners enough that these slot routes will be open against cover 3. This is not great against man. I normally check, depending on where the safety is, I normally check my slot receivers. That guy on McBride is head up, so I don't know that he's going to be open on this play. You will notice also that McBride's kind of on a bend. He's bending inside, so it's something to be aware of depending on whether your free safety is. But a lot of times he'll be open. And then Vallejo's on this choice route. Sometimes I'm not in love with the choice route, so sometimes I put him on a normal drag. Sometimes I'll put him on a normal drag. Sometimes I will put him on a whip, so that way I know where he's going. Just sometimes I'm not in love, and I don't know that. I'm sure it's really, really hard to code this, but sometimes the decisions that these guys make with their choice routes drives me nuts. So I'm just not in love with the choice routes in general. But I will, if I'm comfortable in a game, I will leave him on the choice and let him go inside or outside depending on what he's seeing. Most of the time, I will put Saunders on the vert and I will put him on a drag, and that way I know where my outlets are. So like I said, I'm going to check where. First, I'm going to check my slot guys, and based on what the safety was, I knew I was going to check McBride first. A lot of times, yeah, nothing doing right there. A lot of the times, I got to be careful about running this on a hash, like especially if this is on the right hash, all those windows close up, and they're going to run man coverage or whatever, so just going to get the ball out quickly there. If I'm on a hash, I got to be careful where my read's going. They take away the vert there, but these slot verts are really, really good. And a lot of times I'm throwing the ball to Saunders. And I've had a ton of chunk plays and touchdowns off of this play. It's just a really, really good play, especially if you got somebody spamming cover 3. And you can see if they're running some sort of man coverage. That another reason that I like to have Vallejo, or I like to have my best receiver with the best route running on my number 3 receiver. It's not really open. Just because he's able to win in the clutch when I really, really need it. I was hoping to get a cover 3 look to kind of just show you guys how. Yeah, I'm not going to get it anytime soon. Hoping to show you guys how nasty it is with the seam vert, but you guys get the point. Running hitches. I will go to this several times a game. Most of the time people are not expecting this. This is the worst possible look on defense that I can get for running this. It looks like they are going to run man coverage and send a blitz, so this would be comparable to somebody running a double mug versus me. Depending on the defender that's over him, I might put Vallejo on a vert and just beat him for a one-play touchdown. If I don't like that, I might clear those guys out and just run this whip route, and he should be open. If I'm gonna get a cover 0 look. So I know a lot of guys spam double mug. A lot of people know how to beat it, so they get out of it. If I do get zone coverage, that's man again. The hitch is just not a good route versus man most of the time. And it looks like I might be getting man again. But this, I don't want to run this with the balls in the right hash. There's not enough room to run it. This is good against cover 2, cover 3, and cover 4. If guys are running cover 6, most zone coverages, hitches are fucking phenomenal because they're not always going to have enough short defenders to be able to defend this. I like running this more on first and second down. Not when... I'll run this if I got a guy that's spamming a lot of cover 4. If they are spamming cover 4, the hitch on the left side is normally wide open. That was a blitz. But the flat defender will normally slow play the hitch and then run out to get to his flat responsibility. So back, especially last year when guys were spamming cover 4, I would go to this often. But most of the time, guys are not going to have enough short zones to be able to cover all these different routes. A lot of times... Not on that time, but McBride is normally the one that pops open because guys will be user in the middle of the field and take away the middle hitch. But I go to, that was just a gross animation, but that's another man coverage. But I will go to this hitches and like I said early on, first and second down when guys are running deeper zones, and just take my free yardage and kind of just move on. Okay, I'm just going to quickly talk in general versus a couple different defensive looks. I kind of just went over everything that I think about from a base set when I'm getting a normal, like a lot of times guys run nickel, just normal defense. I'll talk double mug briefly. If double mug, as long as your team is not utter absolute cheeks, double mug's pretty easy to beat. You just got to know where you're going. I got to throw everything hot. Vallejo isn't, I think, the fastest receiver I've ever had, but like when I had BTJ, this is a one-play touchdown most of the time. I can lob this up to him before I get hit. But most of the time, I'm going to just know where to get the ball out quickly. First off man, I can throw that curl on time. Here, I'm probably going to throw my drag unless I just change him into a whip. That is really good defense. Just know if you are getting double mug, you got to just know where you're going to go with the football, before the snap. I know double mug has been a menace to a lot of people in the last 2 years. When you're facing double mug, you got to be, so like this slant route should be open. Most guys will use one of the 2 middle linebackers. They will occupy a lineman and then back up and play this. So a lot of times I'm very careful about throwing the slant over the middle of the field. That's not normally my go-to. Normally, if someone's running double mug, I'll go to the slot fade play when I have this out route. Most of the time, guys are not defending this, and it's fucking, I mean, if I have the yards after catch, I think it's called on the go ability on him, where he can catch the ball and not lose any momentum and turn upfield, and I only have one man to spin out or one man to beat when he turns upfield, that can be a one-play touchdown. Normally, when people come out and double mug against me, they're out of it by the first quarter because we just absolutely fucking torch that shit. I know that double mug's a menace to a lot of guys, so just Okay, so another thing I hadn't touched on much is the protection that I run, and I am running empty protection, and that's primarily what I do. I like empty protection takes away like the most dangerous man, and so I feel like they do a good job of blocking the inside out defenders first, and that gives me time to beat the blitz. So when you're running somebody that's spamming double mug or some sort of glitch blitz, this is my preferred method to protect myself because I feel like this will give me enough time to make my read and get my throw out. There are guys who run overload blitzes, so just remember that if you are getting somebody that overloads a side, you're going to have slide, full slide, do whatever you need to do to take away the overload. Otherwise, you're making your life harder than it needs to be. In general, I'm playing the AI right now, so I got a stock even mid blitz. I'm going to be in if guys are balanced with their blitz. In my opinion, empty's the best way for me to have enough time to get the ball out. That way, I'm getting pressure from the most outside defender, and that gives me time to catch and throw, basically. Cover 2 man is an absolute menace on this fucking game. This cover 2 man is so good on this game. If you have, we have a lot of guys. I mean, we're near 6 or 7 or whatever, and their entire defense is godlike. Like all their fucking corners are better than my receivers. In general, cover 2 man's hard to beat, and on this game it's a little harder to beat, especially if someone's going to spam cover 2 man. If I had a running quarterback, this is when a running quarterback would absolutely torch that shit. And that's something that I need to do a better job of when I get a lot of cover 2 man, is take my fucking quarterback with a 6-second 40 time and just run. That's what I need to do more of. A lot of you guys have running quarterbacks, so just realize if somebody's spamming cover 2 man against you, the best way to beat it is take your quarterback and run on them. In general, man concepts, outbreaking routes versus inside leverage, in breaking routes versus outside leverage. On this game, depending on the unit that you got, since they're going to be running man coverage, if they spam it, you want to find your best matchup versus your best receiver, your biggest delta, best wide receiver versus worst corner, and focus on that read. Because cover 2 man is just it's really good on this game. So we'll see what they do about it for next game and if they make any changes. But if they're not going to run a spy, run with your QB. Otherwise, you got to look for your matchups, look for your man beaters. IRL, nobody would be able to fucking do this shit. We would absolutely torch if they just spam man coverage on it. People would be getting absolutely dusted. But in the video game, people can spam cover 2 man and it's just clamps. Depending on the matchup. I guess another note against cover 2 man. When I have a running back that I can put, that was another, like the comment that I made earlier. If I have a running back that is super fast that I can put on a vert on the outside, I can run a post out of my tight end or whoever's there, and I can run a vert out of my running back. And this is another reason why like the team that I have so fucking godlike. If I have a running back that can win a man coverage, you can't run cover 2 man versus me, because the tight end will take that post away and it's not going to show it. But if they run some sort of press man against you, that running back is just fucking to the crib, and either he's going to win or somebody else eventually will win. But you can just see they're just running press man, and if you have a fast enough running back with this offense, they can't run this against you. Okay, this isn't the best way to show this. I'm running the Raiders defense, and so they don't have exactly the look I'm going for. But a lot of times guys will have a 1-4 dime that they go to, or they're only rushing 3. And this is a really good defense to play against MT in general, depending on if guys are willing to take all their short stuff. When guys switch to rushing 3 defenders or sometimes rushing 2 defenders versus you, this makes running empty a lot harder. And this is a lot of times half the players I play will just random online head-to-head. A lot of guys will, when they see me go to empty, they'll try to run fucking double mug, and I will absolutely torch that shit. Then they'll get out of it, and then they'll go to something like this where they're dropping 8 or 9 into coverage. When they do that, most of the time, sometimes I stay in empty just because I'm being hard-headed and I want to throw the ball. But it's a lot better if somebody's going to drop 8 or 9 to probably go to a normal spread set or three wide receiver set and running back in the backfield, and versus like normal people mixing in a little inside zone or QB draw to counter that is better. But when they're running 8 or 9 in coverage, it's in general it's a good defense to play. Biggest decision maker into whether or not you can continue to pass against this. Like this, in theory, this should be good, but I have a slow quarterback and my O-line's not very good. If your O-line is comparable, if your O-line is as good or better than the defensive line is, if somebody's only rushing 3, you should have a long time, and I'm just going to hold on to the ball, but you should have a long time for somebody to break open. So that is kind of the cat and mouse game with people rushing 2 or rushing 3. If they're not going to rush enough guys, eventually somebody should get open for a big play. Otherwise, if they're going to do this, most of the time you're short stuff open. And so like a lot of times I'll stay in empty because there's always ways to beat some of this stuff. Like this slot fade that I was talking about earlier is that's open. It hasn't been open a lot in this video, but it's open a lot when you play people. Like I said, this defense is a little fucked up because right now they're in prevent, which is not normal, but just for the point of the concepts, if you have a running quarterback, running QB draw to this is normally good whenever people start dropping everybody into coverage. You have to be careful with your reads that you're making because they're going to have an extra defender that's not one of these 3 deep safeties. Normally they're in one of these short zones, so a lot of this, you have a lot of tight windows to throw it in. But my O-line's not very good, so nowadays when people are going to go into this look versus me, I have to get out of this. But if you have a comparable O-line and somebody's only rushing 2 or 3, you can maneuver your way in the pocket and wait, and late in the play somebody breaks open and you have a 35-yard gain. Just because the zone discipline in this game, in my opinion, is just not very good. Guys just they said that they're going to improve the defensive AI logic in the next game, but guys will just fucking. And I think defense is very, very bad in this game. It doesn't help. I mean, offense is obviously easy to play in Madden. You can see the entire field all at once. They need to bring back QB vision to try to balance that. I don't know if they ever will, because I think it's kind of a nuisance to play with QB vision, and I don't think most Madden users like that kind of thing. But it's just something, in my opinion, that would help to balance the game, because being able to see the entire field all at once and throw every ball at any given second, well, number one, it's unrealistic. Like in real life, you have to be looking at the guy you're fucking throwing it to. And number two, it makes offense so OP in Madden. Anyway, you can still run empty if guys are running. If they're only rushing a couple guys, you just have to be careful about making quick reads, just because there's so many defenders in the box, like I said, which is not shown very accurately right now because I just put them in prevent just to show the 3-man rush. But most of the time, if guys are going to do something like this versus me, I might, if I have an okay enough O-line, I might wait a second for somebody to pop open late in the play, use a playmaker or something, and you'll get some sort of chunk gain out of it later on. All right, fellas, I feel like after I kind of watch this back, I feel like there's some things that I missed or that I didn't quite hit. And you can see like some of the hot routes that I typically use. I haven't ran a lot of corners, and I feel like you need a QB with some decent throw power to throw corners. I haven't thrown a ton of corners on this game. It's something that I probably need to implement more, because a lot of you guys are really good at corners and switching to slot fades. I know that the meta in this game has kind of been the bunch X nasty, a three receiver set with running like a slot fade out of it. I try not to abuse like shit that I feel like isn't right. So this is very, very simple. Spread the field out, make your reads, all that type of shit. Most people that I play have a really hard time defending this, just because it's like I said, being able to see the entire field all at once is so fucking OD. I will post a lot of just gameplay clips once college football comes out. Once Madden comes out, I'm going to keep running empty, and I'm going to keep fucking dotting kids, I promise. Like I said, the NFL's gotten so competitive now that a lot of times I beat myself just trying to make reads too quickly. But I think a lot of people that have played me can attest to I mean, it is very, very difficult to cover everything versus an empty set. Um, most of the time, if I throw a pick or make a bad read, it's just me being stupid, just either rushing my read or getting frustrated with the game. I mean, a plethora of things. Most of the time, it's really hard to take everything away unless all your secondary is better than every single receiving option that they got on the other side of the football, and your D line's better than their O line. In general, super fucking fun running empty, and it's just what I've been having fun with while playing this game. So I figured I've put a lot of time and thought into running this specific empty offense, and so I figured there might be a little bit of value. Maybe somebody in a league or playing some games might learn something from this and their passing concepts and implement one thing or another. So just thought it might be fun to kind of go through it and go inside the mind of a young Jim, fellas. Really appreciate you guys. Super excited for these games coming out. Let's finish the summer strong, and we'll catch you in the next one.